Number 1. It's over there on the board. They moved the decimal point straight up because our divisor was a whole number. They came up with 5 800. Any questions on that one? Yes. Your question.
I don't know why there would be a 0.
Why would there be a 0? As we take a look at it,
But we can't. 7 by
9, when we drop the 7 down, 9 cannot go into 7, so we need to put that 0 as a placeholder. Okay? Does that make sense? Ezra, does that make sense? Okay. Number 2, we have 2 quarters, a dime, and 4 pennies. How much money do we have? 64 cents. Good. How can 64 cents be written using the cent sign? Using the cent sign.
So 64, and then an S with the line down.
A what?
Or a C.
Okay. How can we write 64 cents with a dollar sign?
You would do, you put 64, but you put the decimal in front of it, and you put the dollar sign in front of it.
Okay. So make sure you understand those represent the same thing, and depending on how we want to show it as 64 cents with a whole number and the cent sign, or a decimal value and the dollar sign. Okay? Make sure you understand these are the correct ways to write it. Okay? Sometimes you'll see it like this in stores. That means it costs less than a penny. I don't think that's what they're intending. Okay? All right? Huh?
It's
64 hundredths of a cent. I don't think that's what they're meaning.
64% of a penny. Don't know where you're gonna find that.
Yeah. Okay. We once had a store employee that wrote stuff like that, and was like, post size, I'd be like, no. If I run around the store fixing it, trying not to offend the store employee, but it was like, no, not my store. We can't have it like that. No, absolutely not. So make sure you know how to write those correctly. The cent sign follows the whole number. The dollar sign comes in front of the decimal point. Okay, so make sure you know how to write those correctly. All right? Okay, number 3, I believe is over there on the board as well. They did the division and came up with 267. Any questions on number 3? Number 4, how do we tell if the shape is symmetric? How do we tell if the shape is symmetric?
You put a line down through it, and if both sides are equal, then it's symmetric.
Was there a line of symmetry anywhere in this shape?
No.
Lane.
Cut down, straight down, or sideways.
And what is sideways called? Horizontally. If we do it horizontally and we fold it on that line of symmetry, will it match up?
No.
No, it will not. So this shape is not symmetric. Okay. Number 5 is over there on the board. Number 5. 34 and 22 hundredths. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Question? Who had it?
You're right.
No?
I messed up right there.
Okay. Number 6. We have 20 minutes multiplied by 5. How many of you got 100 minutes? How do we convert that over to 1 hour and 40 minutes? How do we convert that over?
Since 60 minutes equals 1 hour, you take 60 from that and you have 40 minutes.
Okay, good, good. And number 7, what are 2 names for that angle? 2 names, what's one of them?
LMN.
Pardon?
LMN.
Angle LMN. What's another name for it?
Right angle.
Ezra?
NML.
Angle ML. What must be true when we name this angle? It has to be in the middle because it is its, not point, but it's not called the center, it's called the, nope, nope, vertex, vertex, vertex. Number 8, the number of squares needed to cover a region is called its area. Stand up if you said true. It is definitely true. Number 9 is up here on the board. They came up with 1,326. 1,326. Questions on that?
Wait, what's that?
1,326 for the questions on that. Number 10, when we subtract, what is our difference? Our difference, 95 cents. Any questions on that? Number 11, we multiply by 100. How many places and what direction does the decimal point move? Eduardo? 2 to the right. Part B, we divide by 10. What happens to the decimal point in what direction? 1 to the left. We multiply by 1/10. What happens to the decimal point? Lane? 1 to the left. Any question on those three? Number 12, let's take a look at this. They first did the 3 times 1 and the 4 plus 2 because they were in parentheses. Questions on that step? They then did the multiplication right here. Came up with the 48. Then they subtracted and came up with the 45. Then they added and came up with 50. Any questions on that? They did 4 plus 2 and got the 6. They did 3 times 1 and got the 3. They did 8 times 6 and got the 48. They did 48 minus 3 and got the 45. They then did the addition there and got 50. Any questions on that? Okay. There should be 14 possible. Please get your score recorded. If I drew this picture up here and I asked how many groups we could make that are equal, what would you group together?
The X and the whole thing and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So the division, right? Okay. All right. So if that represented a whole number and a decimal value, we understand that we can subgroup, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Today we're going to work on dividing a decimal by a decimal. A decimal by a decimal. Okay? So in doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the examples in the book, but then I'm going to focus more on a different method than what the book explains, and we're not going to have to draw a model, okay? All right, but I am going to talk about the model just briefly. Let's take a look on page 318, please. On 318, it asks us to take $1.75, and we want to know how many stacks of 25 cents we can come up with in $1.75. So we're taking $1.75 divided by 25 cents. So we have a decimal divided by a decimal. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, $1.75 in picture form looks like this, 1 in 7,500, right? Do we recognize that? Okay. If I want to know how many 2,500s I have, I can find groups of 2,500s there, correct? Okay. So I can shade in 2,500. I can find another group of 2,500s there. I got 2 groups so far. I can find another group of 2,500s there. I've got my next group of 2,500s there. I'm not sure what the power of the pencil machine is today, guys. That should be taken care of before class. I so far have 4 groups of 2,500s, right? But I still have some more left to go, right? So my next one, I keep going. I'm looking for groups of 2,500. There's my 5th group of 2,500. There's my 6th group of 2,500. And there is my 7th group of 2,500s. So $1.75 or 1 in 7,500s divided by that 25 cents or 2,500s equals 7. Okay? Does that make sense? So we can show it in a picture. All right? And pictures are great, and if you understand a picture like this, you understand where it comes from, right? Okay? Because everybody doesn't understand where the picture comes from. Okay, what's your question on the picture? That you couldn't find groups of 2,500s? Like if I hold up 10 fingers, and I'm dividing by 2, I wonder how many groups of 2 I have. I have 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2, 5 groups of 2. Okay? So it's all we've done here is find groups of 2500s, right? Okay? I'm glad I could enlighten you on that. Made it all clear. Good. The room just got brighter. That help? Okay. All right. So we understand what we're looking for in division. Okay? How many groups of this? How many groups of this do we find in that? Okay? Do we understand this, what division is? Do we understand that's what division is? Okay. Okay. How many groups of this do we find in that, right? Okay. Groups of this size. Right? How many groups of that size do we find in that? Right? So how many groups of 2 did we find in 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? How many groups of 25% did we find over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Does that help you out? Yes? No? No. All right. So, I can do how many groups of 2 do I have in 6 and hold my fingers up like this? Or I can do how many groups of 2 do I have in 6 like this, and I can go 1, 2, 3, because I already know it's going to be easier that way. Well, most of you do 6 like this, right? And that's going to be harder to show, okay? So, all right. Okay, but do we understand where this groups of comes from? Okay, so that is where we get this groups of using decimals and or whole numbers, either one. Okay? You're not going to want to draw pictures and have models all of your life. Your parents probably were not shown models at all. And we question why the models. Okay? We're going to move on today, and I'm going to explain another way of how we show and why it works another way. All right? Okay. So we're going to use this same example. I want you to get out paper, and then line paper, you know, where you can show nice neat notes. All right, so we have line 7500 divided by 2500. You should have line paper out. That would include you. Borrow from somebody. Let's go. All right, so we know how to divide by a whole number, right? So if our divisor is a whole number, we know that our decimal point is already going to be placed in our dividend or our quotient. correct? So here we go. In order to make 2,500 a whole number, we would need to multiply it by 100. Because in multiplying it by 100, how many places does the decimal point move and what direction? Everybody should say? To the right. And that wasn't real good. All right, let's try again.
Right.
If we are multiplying by 100, we all know the decimal point moves to the right. All right? Okay? All right. But if we move the decimal point 2 to the right in the divisor, that means that we've altered that, so we also have to alter the dividend the same way. Does that make sense? Well, we can't just change one part of our problem. We have to change both parts the same way. Otherwise, it becomes 1 in 7,500 divided by 25, not 25 hundredths. Okay? So we also have to multiply this by 100, and if we multiply that by 100, the decimal point moves to the right. And now it can go straight up, and it's in position. Okay? You two quit. Pay attention and take notes. All right? So now we have our decimal point in position. And now we can do our division because our divisor is now a whole number of 25. Well, who else has a birthday today?
Happy birthday.
Huh? You do? Aren't you a lucky guy? Thank you. All right. Let's see.
There's no way.
Gonna take the line. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I have one? Teacher.
And how old are you today?
Hello.
Hey, Jackson. How old are you today? I'm a little bit older than you.
Are you 29?
Keep saying.
Are you 29?
All right, so back to this problem. So now we have 175 divided by 25. Okay? All right? Does 25 more than 1?
No. Wait.
Into 17?
Yes. No. Yes. No. Oh, wait, no.
Into 175?
Yes.
Yes. How many times? 7.
Wait.
Was that the same answer we came up with when we did a model?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay? All right?
It's just 7. Wow.
All right? So now we're going to do 1 and 2/10 divided by 3/10. If we take a look at the model itself, we want to know how many groups this side fit into that, right?
Yes.
Okay? Well, 3/10 is a tenth is a stick, so we're looking for 3 sticks, right? So there is 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. So our answer should be 4, right? Does that make sense? Okay?
Oh.
So if we follow this, we have on your line paper 1 and 2/10 divided by 3/10. Well, in order to make 3/10 a whole number, we would have to move the decimal point 1 to the right, which means we multiply by 10. But if I multiply my divisor by 10, my dividend also needs to be multiplied by 10, right? Which means I have to move the decimal point 1 to the right, and now I can move it up into position. And 12 divided by 3 is?
20. This is,
That is what I got over here. Sir? Because when I look here, I want my divisor to be a whole number. How many places do I need to move that decimal point over to make it a whole number? 1. When I moved it 1 to the right, I was multiplying by 10.
How did you get 7 on the one?
Because 25 times 7 is 175.
Oh.
No, it's above the 5. It's 7. Okay. How do we check our problems? We check our problems by multiplying. If I take 2,500 times 7, I get my 1 and 7,500, right? Right? Okay. Does that help you? Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, I want to know how many 900s are in 4,500s. How many 900s are in 4,500s? Well, I can go down through here and I can mark all my 900s. There's one group. There's another group. There is another group. Another group. And another group. For a total of 5. Okay. Right? Okay. If we do the long division, I look at my divisor. How many places would I need to move the decimal point in order to make it a whole number? 2 to the right, which means I multiplied it by what? So I need to move it 2 to the right in my dividend. I move it up. How many times is 9 going to 45? There it is.
Oh!
Okay. Now, what am I going to want to see on your papers? I'm going to see what you multiplied by, like 10, 100, 1,000, whatever. I'm going to want to see the movement of your decimal point in both the dividend and the divisor. Okay? I'm going to want to see that you move the decimal point straight up. I'm going to see any long division that you did. Okay, so like 45 will go down here. You subtract, you get 0. All that jazz.
Okay.
All right? Okay, yes.
Can these have remainders?
Our problems that we are going to work will not. Okay? Set up specifically that way. Okay?
Will we have to use
The models, if you want to double check yourself on them, you can, but you will not have to. Okay? I use them to point out why it works that way. Okay? What I really want you to focus on is understanding this multiplying of 100 or 10 or 1,000 or whatever. Okay? That's the focus I want you to have. I wanted you to see why it works that way by models. Okay? Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. Let's take a look at number 4. Number 4. Number 4 says 1 1 divided by 5/10. 1 divided by 5/10. My divisor, I need it to be a whole number. How many places do I need to move the decimal point to make it a whole number? 1 to the right. So I multiplied by what? 10. I need to multiply 1 by 10, which means I need to move it 1 to the right. Oh, I need to put in a 0 and move that decimal point up. Does that make sense? How many times is 5 go 1 to 10? 2. 2 times. And my answer is 2. Now, let's go back and look at the original problem. If this were $1 divided by 50 cents, because that's what it essentially is, right? How many 50 cents are in $1? 2. 2. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Questions on this? All right. We good? Okay, on page 321, you may cross out the direction of using a model. Okay? Okay? I want you to do your work on lined paper. Make sure you number your problems neatly. Okay? You may cross out number 11. You may cross out number 2. So it's 3 through 10 on page 321. It is due tomorrow. Yes, ma'am.
Are we allowed to still use this paper?
I'm okay with that. Just be real clear that this is what you're doing. I would suggest do it on the back side because I am not interested in trying to muddy through what some of you guys do. Start on the back, clear page on the back. Yes, sir.
We have to do the back of
No, just page 321, 3 through 10. 321, 3 through 10. Okay? Questions? One. Yeah. What? shirt pimple or not?
Yeah.
We need help with that. Get busy. I'm gonna go help. What's problem now? On that paper.
Oh, brother.
Okay, 3 through 10 on this page. Right number 3 on your study. Now,
I know it. Sounds like running out.
what you should remember is that you put them.
You're discovering mine.
Wow!
Knock it off. This is doing the thing.
What?
Oh,
Fine. But I don't want to do it. I already did. You really can do it. No.
Can you say that a little louder, please, Jonathan? Could you say that just a little louder, please? Yes, you did. I would love for you to say it a little louder. I'm not kidding. Yeah, I don't know. No. I appreciate that you said that. I'm not kidding. I appreciate that you said that because I say that so many times through your work that I agree with that comment.
I'm like, what? That's stupid.
I do believe this is Wednesday.
Yeah.
I do believe 9:55 is the time. Oh, 9:56, I have our class. I do believe our time is up.
I don't like. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Please make sure you're quiet, come on, stay off to the side, so we can have you.
Happy birthday.
Make sure your area is cleaned up.
I look like my master. I don't really like
Why do you think we do it? No one cares about I wonder if we got stuck behind somebody. Sorry about that. Leave me alone. I hate watching that, watching other people get it, that's a shit. When I saw that come up, I went, I put my team, I said, "Win. I am not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it." And that year I did, but this year I said, no way. I paid my dues one time, and I'm doing it again. Wait, how long have you been doing it? A long time. You have my mom. Who's your mom next time? Okay, yeah.
Are you gonna watch that in the home?
Oh, well, I don't even like watching this, I just got it.
You might want to yell this compliment. You told everyone to say yeah. That's time.
Oh my God, so awful.
I know.
I know. I own it. I own it.
I tell you when you're
I own it.
yeah, my mom was like,
I own it. Right? I own it. You have to say something on that. Huh? She might be, but I'm not sure. I have to figure it out. What? For that problem? We'll double check it. Okay? Ezra!
She wiped it out.
Someone did it. Why are you gonna wipe it? No. She has not wiped them. She has swiped them.
She said she'll be back in a minute.
She.
snaps of your nose. Thank you.